Here we go. I'm recording now, so this is a reading for Zal on YouTube, as well as during live stream. And I'm going to post it, and everyone who is getting readings are agreeing to have their videos on YouTube after this. If you're watching this reading after the fact on YouTube and you're resonating with this message, it makes a lot of sense. We do that a lot. I'm reading general energy pretty much all the time. And we're going to get some messages for Zal here, but feel free to resonate with the messages as however you see fit. We're reading about the number 2 for Zal. There's like this repeating 22 that's going on. Oh yeah, Colin. Colin is coming. He's here. Yeah. Hi. So the beginning of the reading is Colin. What are you looking at me like that for? See, I start channeling your energy there, Zal, and we get Colin, and he's like, what's this? Where's Mitz? Oh, he's purring. Oh, he's so warm. I think Dirk is not doing so well. He's not so warm. Yeah? What do you want? What can I do for you? Aww. Mitz in his spot. Careful, Colin. Candles, remember? Okay. I tried to move him a little bit, and he's, well, this is the beginning of your reading, Zal. It's cat time with Colin. Oh, he wants to model. Oh. Precious. Oh, there's Mitz. Oh, Colin just looked at Mitz. Oh, good. Oh. Colin's on display for Mitz right now, I think. Just doing a little display action. Check out how soft. Man, you are so soft, Colin. You are so cute. Yes, you are. Oh, no tarot cards. No. That's it. No more tarot cards, he says. All Colin. So he's saying the number 22 is about him. That's what he's saying. Okay, thanks so much. But are you going to go now, Colin? I'm going to do cards. You can stay if you want, but... Colin just looked up at the camera as soon as you said that. He's sitting up and he's looking at the camera. Want to say hi to Mitz? Colin, there's candles right behind you, bud. Okay, that's it. This is not safe for you. I'm sorry. Mitz saw that? That's so great. So they made eye contact. Oh. Let's see what this number 22 is about. So I had this memory in this, we kind of connected before this reading, I started recording. It's about, similar to the last reading, it's about kind of acts of service in a way, or like doing things for friends, having this feeling of, you know, that's one of the great things about friendship is that we can do things for friends, or feel like there's kind of, it's, in the last reading it was almost hinting to, there's a little bit of like a testing that happens there. I'm not sure how I feel about testing, not to judge any of it anyway, but I think that there's something a little bit more strong about that. It's like having a way of understanding who you're dealing with. Are they, is this person you're dealing with, and this is just like anybody, is this person you're dealing with, are they a taker or are they a giver? That kind of a thing. Oh, he's brushing his hair. Yes. Yes. Colin is very vocal. He's got quite the voice on him. What? What do you say whoa about? You've got to be careful of these candles, Colin. That's how Mr. Zal talks to Mitz. Yes? There, Colin's going to go down because I think the candles are a bit dangerous for him. Again, I get this big draw of 4 cards. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to stop looking at those. I'm trying to get rid of that thing that's going on in the readings. For some reason, there's like these, it's info dumps. Do you know? 2 is just fine. I'll take 2. Yeah. I think this is like a who are you? Who are you? Energy. It's gauging who someone is. It's making sense of who someone is. What makes someone happy is basically it. Finding what they say and looking at how they live. Or it's like what someone, how someone lives shows a lot about who they are as well. Going into someone's house and seeing what they have in their house says a lot about who they are. What kinds of things are sitting on the shelves and what kinds of things are tucked away in cupboards. What kinds of things are sprawled on the floor. Hangman. Mm-hmm. 5 of Cups. That's interesting. You know, I was kind of reading with this deck for someone on that day I posted on Instagram about the stew that I made. And that this image was coming up of like a bowl of stew. And that was really fun that that was happening so literally. The service, right? It's the same thing, right? I think that's a message in general for maybe everybody who's here right now and maybe everybody who's going to watch this video or later down the road. Wouldn't it be fun if this was like a couple years from now you stumble into this tarot channel and you find this message for you? Colin's playing with stuff. He's doing stuff. That sounds like something that's not a cat toy. I can't see him. I don't know where he is. Okay, you know what? And it's so funny. As I'm saying that, but the energy is kind of settling into this, I'm getting a very calm kind of, something's coming in a lot more calmly. I had that angry dad energy earlier, and now I have this kind of like, I feel more relaxed now, which is really nice. So I don't know if that's literal for you right now, Zal, if it's in your energy as well, if you're feeling that or if anybody else is feeling that. That thing that was happening is just kind of past, you know, it's just kind of gone. Like a wind, like a wind. It was just a passing wind. Oh my gosh, did I just, let's say, passing wind? I'm trying to, there's something in here that is very air-like energy, so that's why I think I'm getting that. In, yeah, my throat, right? Like, very much. Like passing thought. I wouldn't have batted an eye on that phrase until you said something. Yeah. I see you at somebody's house. this is basically it. Like I see you over at someone else's house, kind of like exploring or seeing how they, they just kind of just being over there. It's like over at a friend's house, and you're at a friend's house, and they're cooking dinner, or you're cooking, and but you're observing the types of things that they have around, and kind of making sense of who they are, and based on like most, this looks like macrame that they've got, so I wonder if it's somebody who has macrame. I think it's a memory, yeah, because the memory came up with the CD before I started recording. Oh, for anybody who just clicks on this video, when I'm reading and I'm live streaming at the same time, I'm interacting with the chat, and I don't always read it out loud. So if you hear me answering a question that was never asked, you can know that that was in the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing like even a chain here. Like, there's like a light fixture on a chain sometimes. This is really catching the 1980s, 70s vibe. I dated someone that cleaned up animal skeletons. Oh. Okay. Over at somebody's place. Oh my goodness. They put bones on display in their place. Okay. If that's what memories kind of come in. And we see that the animals here. And look at, these are like the bones. Okay, so, oh, that's something. It's like taxidermy. That's interesting. Okay. Wow. And I was getting, by looking at the transit charts and just seeing what was happening, I was getting this interesting vibe. I was getting this interesting kind of feel that there's like something about communication, or like by Valentine's Day, or I called it Valentine's Day, would be like there would be some kind of a communication. This is like in 2 weeks or so, or yeah, in about 2 weeks there would be some kind of, so it might be from this person, or I could be getting this kind of memory about a communication, like that maybe some things were aligned quite similarly at that time. You might want to check that on the charts if you want to cross-reference eventually. Okay. Dead animals off the side of the road. Look at putting them in acid. Look at literal messages. This might just be hanging out. There's okay, there's something mysterious about this person. And we were saying Cancer energy is like Scorpio light. I feel like this person might be a Scorpio. 9 of Swords always strikes me, even though it's an air sign, or like, air energy swords, it strikes me very, very Scorpio. That card. It's just that everyone, let me see, everybody broods a little bit. I've only known a few people in my life to get close enough to know how they brood. And this person seems like somebody to me who broods a lot. Or they would have you brooding a lot, but it's almost like because you're at their house. You're in their house, and that's like you pick up on their energy. They preserve things. They hold on to stuff. You're always going to know that one particular thing happened. And every once in a while, you're going to be reminded about it. Capricorn. This is a bit... Knight of Swords. Again, I'm getting them, yeah. I'm getting a story about you might have been... She purposely kept a hoodie of mine, but boxed up all the other stuff. Yeah, it is against the terms of service. We've been trying to figure out how to. Well, I'm going to sneeze all of a sudden. Oh. Nope. Oh. Phew. That was a strange sneeze. I tried to let it out. It was one of those ones that wanted to stay inside. I don't like keeping them in. I want them to come out. What am I sneezing about? Thank you. Grandma? Is that who we have? Grandma? Could be Grandma's sneeze. I don't normally sneeze like that. I'll tell you that much. Okay, I'm getting something about them. It's like this memory of this person. It's like almost like really bizarre to watch them do these things. It's like cutting up animals and things like, I don't know, in the way where they're, it shows you about who they are. I don't know what it is about it, but there's something about they do this as like a, it's almost like it's a dedication to a particular thought, and they've got like all these, it's like an act of brooding. There's something where their house is full of all of these artifacts of things that they don't want to forget ever. It kind of seems like one of those, you know, it's like a hit list almost, like this animal's for this person, and this animal's for this person, and this animal's for this person. I got this like not that they would do anything more than that, but more like I clean this animal during this era. Yeah. And it's a way of, it's like a souvenir. Which is kind of something, when we keep souvenirs of things, they're to keep certain memories. I don't think this is of pleasant memories. I feel like this is of, I want to make sure I always remember that that person said that, you know, so that I hold it against them later. I don't know. I'm getting this real brooding type of thing. Strange. And it's like you're just basically over at their house serving them up a dish of, like, they probably made one for you. They probably made one for something that you said. It's like, it seems to me like it's something that people, like, I'm never going to forget that they said that thing. And they might even like name them after. It could be that you have a dead animal dedicated to you. I don't know. Sorry, this is kind of strange to hear the one side of it. I can imagine on the video later. Why are we getting this though? Because the Nine of Swords is there, and I see you as being affected by their brooding. I see you as like, you leave their house and you've got this kind of like, you catch it. It's like a, not a illness, although I did just sneeze. Did you get sick from them? Like, were they sick with something and maybe they didn't tell you, and then you went over and then you figured out they were sick, and then you left and you got sick too? Did that happen? I get you like picking something up from them. I don't remember. Okay. Then that might be the edge of the memory there. Colin's got something to say to you, and he keeps trying to express it. We'll get to the point of this reading in just a second, won't we, Colin? I think so. You think that sounds like something. Well, let's just say that's what happened. Like, if you don't remember it, if that's the edge of the memory, then we just know that there's like, it's kind of whatever it is, it's like the brooding, maybe you picked up some way of brooding from them, like that it was just in their house, but it's kind of, it's more like, yeah, this is what we do in relationships. There's no way around it. So 4 of Cups here and 2 of Cups, you can try to not pick things up from people. Or you picked up smoking again, and I sneezed because that's what I would do if I smelt a cigarette. Maybe that's what it is, and that's what all these swords are. Swords are cigarettes. Maybe. I see. She smoked my mom's cigarette. Okay. Okay. She smoked my mom's cigarettes. Yeah. I see. You picked something up. You left her house and you kept it. That was a story. Okay, so that we're going there. This is where we're going. And I think these cards are just kind of like, we're kind of glazing over these cards to get into that particular place. Quit smoking before the date, and I go to the date and she smokes my mom's cigarettes. Oh my goodness. Right. Picking something up at somebody's house, and is that 2 cigarettes there? Is this person serving up 2 cigarettes? I think it looks like cigarettes, or it looks like coconuts, and 2 thing, like it could be cocaine. Whatever it is, both of you are doing something together, smoking together. It's hard for, like, the lighting is kind of a bit dark for me to really see these images totally. Or it's like, I might not be aware of something you do with candles and coconuts. That could be it too. And then the Lover's card here. Coconuts, cocaine, cigarettes, something like that. So it's like those 3 things might have been staples in the relationship. Candles, coconuts, cigarettes, cocaine. And it's picking up habits from other people, I guess that's what this is. Although I don't know why coconuts is a habit. Oh, in Monty Python, coconuts is what they use to make this horse sounds. They're like, croak, 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 croak. They've got the coconuts. That might be something. So, and I see this like moving down the road, like in that Monty Python skit where they're like, as they're arriving, there's somebody who's doing the sound effect of horse hooves with the coconuts. They're just walking. Back to 2005. There we go. And I've got the Tower here. Too bad Cookie's not here. This is a little bit different than we normally do for readings. I'm just kind of glazing over the cards. That's what I feel like. It's more about the images, this one. Although, you know, 20, Judgment. Away we go. And there's the Tower. And so it's the same sun. You know, so we're under the same sun. We're all under the same sun. And we're reading the chart, and so we can feel like we have all these differences in our charts and everything, but we're all just human beings under the sun. We're all just animals under the sun, and we're all just elements under the sun, you know. we pick up habits from others. In this situation, hold on, I'm almost there. When we pick up habits from other people, then we end up it's just like, I see this as like integrating something, like that it's integrated already by the time it falls apart. So it's kind of striking me as, like you said, cigarettes, so it's kind of like that, you know, like that before you know it, you're hooked again, that kind of energy. Be right back real quick. Okay, I'll just keep looking at the cards and doing a bit of watching the images. It's like before you know it, you're hooked. Three of Swords. It's like almost like it's decided for you. You pick up habits from other people. Okay, this is what I think. There's something big. I hope you end up hearing this in real time. This is such a wonderful way of energy coming in. It's coming in so slowly. This person might have been quite slow. Like I see them as like they just wash over you, kind of slow energy, that kind of thing. And I'm really sinking into it. And so I almost feel like if there's anything that doesn't make sense, it's like, you know, their slowness is very stimulating. Because I'm getting a lot of like references to stimulants. We can be talking about the same person, or we can be talking about picking up a habit that it's something, I don't know if it's like a substance or if it's like a behavior thing where like that person, I said there's something brooding, and you kind of recognize that you might have picked up smoking again from that person. So that might have been it. That's all there is with that person. But there's something here now about before you know it, it's like that the energy of picking up a habit from a relationship, and before you know it, it's integrated. Before you even know that you've, at the point where you could have intervened, or the point you recognize it as something, you know, that is destructive, it's already integrated. There's nothing you can do. Like, you recognize it after the fact is basically it. I'm seeing this funny story about this habit that you pick up in a relationship. And it's actually the very thing that they point out in you as they're aiming at you. Like, let's say it's smoking. And I'm just going to put it like, I don't think this is particularly about this person. It's about this energy. And this was what the twos are about. It's about this energy of you picking up a habit from someone, and you can't help it, you know? Like, if you were smoking before and you quit, and then you went to their house and they were smoking, you really probably didn't have as much, you know, you might have recognized yourself as making the choice to smoke, but there's a whole lot going on there. You're still addicted to it and everything. So, you know, you have this kind of, before you know it, you're hooked again. And then this is a story about that very same person criticizing you for being a smoker, and that being why they like break things off with you or something. But it's like they gave you that habit, and then they criticize you for having it, and then that's what ultimately ends it. I switched to vaping, and picking up smoking again reminded me why I quit. Picking up smoking, yeah. Yeah, I see. This is interesting. it's opportunism. It's the energy of somebody. I don't know. I'm a little bit like, I look at this Three of Swords. If you see this image, I'll bring it up a bit. A UFO just drove by. That's our new word for snowplow. If you see, like, this person's like, the Three of Swords, they like spotted someone through the trees and they shot them down. Bang, bang, my baby shot me down. Da 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 da. That movie's from Pulp Fiction, or that song is in Pulp Fiction. Da, 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 da. What's the lyrics to that song? Gaga does a cover. There you go. Houses made of sticks. What are the lyrics to that song? Bang, bang, he shot me down, bang, bang, I hit the ground. Oh, no way, Skoden. I'm seeing there's something about some air fresheners that smell like an ex's cologne. Oh. Yeah, okay, so it's like a movie. It's like a unreal. Like that movie is unreal, right? It's a kind of a classic. Everybody knows it as one of the great movies of all time. But it's like being exposed to a bunch of unbelievable things, and like just, it's like a movie, and somebody playing the character in the movie. Like I'm almost seeing this as John Travolta in that movie. You watched that movie 2 days ago. Oh, no way. That's Skoden saying that. So that's funny. We still got your messages coming through, Skoden. That's great. Oh, here we go. The lyrics are right here. Sal posted them. I was 5, he was 6. We rode on horses made of sticks. He wore black and I wore white. He would always win the fight. Bang, bang. He shot me down. Bang, bang. I hit the ground. Bang, bang. That awful sound. Bang, bang. My baby shot me down. And then the guitar is like da 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 da. Seasons came and changed the time when I grew up. I called him mine. We would always laugh and say, remember when we used to play bang bang? And music played and people sang. Just for me the church bells rang. Now he's gone. I don't know why. Until this day, sometimes I cry. He didn't even say goodbye. He didn't take the time to lie. Ooh. A remix that you liked. See, and I got a remix of a song that I remembered. Oh, we're full circle again, Zal. This all started with a Patsy Cline song that I remembered. I used to have a cover version of that song on a mixed CD. And then now we're all the way back to the beginning because there's a remix of that song. Bang, bang. My baby shot me down. Okay. Pretty much at the root of this reading, I'm starting to see a character or a set of characters who are basically trying to live their life like it's a movie plot. Trying to play out relationships like they see them in movies. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's you. I think that you've been subject to this a few times. I see you in it's almost like they reel you right in, and then they end up shooting you down with the thing that you pick up, because people pick things up from one another. That's funny, I was just talking about that with somebody. That idea that, if you're around somebody who has an accent, you might like speak in an accent yourself, or develop some kind of a sympathetic accent. You might approach their way of speaking a little bit more, or you'll try, or you'll speak slower or louder, or whatever it is. That's empathy for you. Empathy is like in a way you want to approach people, and we have these kind of, in evolution, they say monkey see, monkey do. We have ape in us, we have that kind of tendency to imitate one another. That happens, and we can be conscious of what we do, but to be conscious of everything we do is, you know what? The only people who are going to be saying that they're conscious of everything that they do are people who are lying. It's just not. It's just not the way we're wired. We're not wired to be conscious of everything. And it's a sad state when somebody's in that energy. Ace of Cups I have here for you. I have you like trying to approach a relationship and somebody playing it out like it's a plot that has like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And there's the villain and there's the hero and all this stuff. And they're trying to end up the hero at the end of it. So it's somebody who maybe, or a series of people or a series of relationships you've been in where there needs, like it's kind of like, what is this? Is this even like what are we doing here? And there's this kind of familiarity to it. I think it's because it's from movies. Seven of Cups. Before you know it, you've dug yourself into a hole with a person like this. You shot yourself in the foot is basically it. And that bang, bang, my baby shot me down. I shot myself in the foot. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Because approaching a person like this, you start to imitate them, and then they'll shoot you down for exactly the thing that they got you into doing. Or, like, it's almost like stimulating, stimulants. That's what it is. It's stimulating conflict. They have this way of stimulating conflict so that the plot progresses. I think that's a plot factor, stimulating. I have a book about that actually. I got a book about that recently. It's about writing and writing like writing stories. The last card is Temperance here for you. So you say, so it was planned. I feel like it's like they think that they're fully conscious of everything they're doing, but that's a lie. And I feel like there's something about how they just kind of like have this way of, they took in movies and they took it very literally, that's the way they were supposed to live their life. They took it as an instruction manual rather than a piece of art. They didn't reflect off of the movie. They entered the movie into their program, like their robot or something. So I don't think they're aware of it, like planned overtly. No, I just feel like this is kind of maybe a trend or a pattern. The twos is making sense to me here. Okay, you ready, Zal? The twos. We don't have any twos in here, do we? Although we have this page, that's a two. Temperance is referring to two. Splitting. This is what I'm getting, splitting. It could be that you've been through a series of relationships in the early 2000s that were with people who break into. People got with me. Got with me with the plan to break up with me. Yeah, right? So you have that feeling that that's the way it is. That feeling, if you have it, it's not that, I think there's something to that. It's that they're kind of designed, like they design things in a way in real time, just with the way that they are. They want to end up the hero in the end. This is somebody here, and we're referring, I think, to a whole bunch of people who absolutely cannot handle the idea that they would look both good and bad at the end of something. They need to look either good or bad, and they will avoid looking bad at all costs, so they will end something in such a way where you dig yourself into a hole, and you're the one who shows up here, Ace of Cups. You show up with kind of just like Skoden in a friendship, very similar thing. It's just like, here's what I have to offer, and you front, your acts of service. You might make them a bowl of soup, you might cook for them, you might go over to their place, you might help them clean stuff, or you might like take note of the things that they like just by looking at the stuff that's on their walls or in their cupboards, and noticing what they need, and all of those things end up being used against you in the end. because there's somebody here who doesn't know, who absolutely will not, like, it's like they got to see themselves as the hero, John Travolta, in the end. Even though I can watch that movie and I think John Travolta's a jerk in that movie, right? But they wouldn't have seen it that way. Let's put it that way. People see movies in all different ways. People read the Bible in all different kinds of ways too. What's that thing? Like, if you don't understand the metaphors in the Bible, oh, good, nice. So Zal just generated a random. Trust and joy in the midst of trouble. Let's read that. Through the fig tree, though the fig tree do not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, the produce of the olive fail, and the field yield no food. I'm having a real dyslexic day. The flock be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. There are two different kinds of people, Zal. There are people who understand metaphors, and there are people who do not understand metaphors. People who can process them, people who can't. The people who can process metaphors tend to be people who you would also say have a high level of empathy, because the metaphor, they empathize with the character. It could be anything. You can empathize with a log, as long as, like, it's a story about a log. Like, I'm seeing this log here, and it's like I can empathize with that story. Like, this poor thing is, like, out in the sun and it's fallen down, and I know exactly what's going to happen to this log. The sun's going to bake it, and it's going to turn into a crispy in that little leaf that was starting to grow. Like, isn't that sad? We can empathize. Someone got offended a few days ago, someone got offended by a metaphor you used. Okay, yeah. Because, like, sometimes people don't understand metaphors, and it's really unfortunate, because it's a wonderful language to use to kind of unite people. It's also a language that divides people. We can know that because there's some people who won't be able to, let's say, empathize with the position of being both good and bad at the same time. Of being kind of... In this story about a branch falling down and the sun heating it, that's just a random story I'm kind of reading in this card, based on this image. In this story, there's no good guy and there's no bad guy. It's just something that's happening. Now, I empathize with the log, and I go, oh, the poor log, the poor tree, it fell down, and all the new growth, what a waste. It's going to get fried now that it can't moisten itself. It's detached from its roots. It fell down. That's too bad. And I can empathize with the tree, but I'm not angry with the sun for shining down on the tree, because the sun is actually what, generates, like, life in the tree through the leaves. And, like, that's a metaphor right here for, like, the cycles of life, or, like, when something falls down, it runs its course almost. We kind of can predict how this is going to go down. It's basically a tree falls down, it dries out, the leaves on it die. We know the course of it. It's that's what's so tower about a tree falling down, because we know that's a tower moment is kind of like when you kind of can see the whole thing unfolding and you know exactly what's about to happen. It's like, no more mystery. And so I don't have to find, like, a good person and a bad person in a story where something is not meant to be, or it's falling apart and it's meant to be a certain way. Whereas there's another person here who needs to see that as somebody needs to come out on top, and there needs to be a winner and a loser. There needs to be a hero and a villain. It's a movie. So I need plot points, otherwise I can't understand what this story means to me. But it's self-referencing, because I've made myself in such a way where I process things in terms of plot points. And that's what I got about the swords, plot points. Somebody that hangs on to, broods on plot points, and they build a story. And they are, till death will live with that story. They don't change their story, they don't adapt, they don't evolve it. And so if you're an evolving person and you walk into this situation, and you're here as like kind of a fluid energy, it contradicts their whole perspective on plot points, because water is an erosive force. Emotions are erosive. Emotions erode us. They get us in these, they catch us in these spots. They soften the edges of things. You ever, been to a beach that's a rocky beach and you see the pebbles, they've all been touched by the water and they're all kind of soft, round edges. You go to a place that's really, really dry, like a desert, and the rocks are all sharp because they haven't been touched by too much water. The erosion, you know what? I finally figured it out what the point of this reading is. I'm going to read here. It's picking up, it's like, okay, someone got offended by a metaphor I used. It's like picking up a coin. You can't pick up one side without picking up the other. Right. And then they say, I have money. I'm not picking up dirty coins off the floor. This in regards to, okay, I don't want to gossip it. Right. Mm-hmm. I see. Wearing water shoes at the lake. So we've just brought up another memory. Good. Good. Okay. What I see here, I'm not going to read the rest of that. I just don't want to call anybody out or, So basically the gist of it Zal's describing right now is that there was a metaphor that was used for some purpose and that they clearly didn't get it. Like, I'm just reading it. Like, clearly they had no understanding of the metaphor at all. They were in it to be right. They weren't in it to have a conversation or to be erosive. When we show up to relationships with emotions, what we're showing up with is the willingness to tear ourselves down in a way, to continue to do that work, to kind of tear down those structures that we carry with us, And when you show up to such a thing with the erosive force, and they're not going to benefit from it because they're not even, I don't think you can actually erode someone else. That's the whole thing. We erode ourselves. Like we soften ourselves with our own emotions. If they don't show up to the table with that stuff, then they don't get to benefit from that. And that's what I get, actually. And it's kind of connected to Skodin's reading, where it's like, you get to carry that with you. So the great thing about being someone like you, Zal, in the face of some people who want to live their life like it's a movie plot, is that you get to actually, like, as much as it feels like a certain way when they use things against you, that they actually, like, almost like you were trying to approach them by imitating them or by, trying on what they do or, trying to, and sometimes it's not really that conscious that we do that. And they shoot you in the foot, you shoot yourself in the foot because that's what they use as an excuse or something. It's like, well, I can't be around you because you do this thing, and you want to be like, but you did it before I did. What are you talking about? And it doesn't make sense. It's like the emotions are there. That you, in the offering of approaching somebody and imitating them, there's a gif right now of a little baby seeing their own shadow and getting freaked out. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. That you eroded into a shadow. Yeah, you got it. You got to see kind of that part of you. I'm not explaining this well. I'm kind of getting distracted, very distracted. It seems to me like if you focus out on how unfair it is, which is hands down, I would say this is objectively, like judgment style, unfair, what we're reading about. It's not fair for someone to do that. And we can focus on that. We can focus on our judgment. And all the while, I feel like during that time, when you were trying to approach somebody, you still get to benefit from every single attempt you made to approach somebody with empathy, is basically what this is about. What they do with their emotional capacity and their ability to have empathy and their ability to see themselves in you, that's their deal. You get to carry forward every single act of empathy that you practice and allow yourself to go to. So even though it feels like you're digging yourself a grave, it might feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot, that you brought this on or something like that. I guess the idea is this thing that happened to you happened after you extended the thing that you got out of the relationship. Do you know what I mean? You still get to have that memory of offering your empathy, your understanding. That's great. Yeah, the face on the shadow is so good. The twos is about, there are two different kinds of people. It's about, there are two different kinds of you as well. There's twos everywhere. Pairs. Oh yeah, there's more than two, but I'm just saying in this case of like somebody who understands a metaphor, somebody who doesn't. I see, multifaceted, yeah, for sure. It's kind of like you can't sort of understand a metaphor. You can't like, you can contemplate, like not quite get it, but understand that there's a metaphor there, and it activates, because like metaphor activates empathy. And there are varying, I agree with you, it's multifaceted and everything. But at a certain point, there is a certain thing that happens inside somebody. It's called splitting, and they cannot process metaphors. It's actually a symptom. They can't. Like analogy, metaphor, all that stuff. Like that's what you said. It's like picking up a coin, and what they do is they take that literally. And it's like, what do you mean? No, I don't mean literally. I don't mean bend down and pick up a coin right now. What I mean is, yeah, literally, Zal. When people take what you say literally, when you intended a metaphor, it's kind of a cue. Scorpios. Totally those Scorpios. Literally private investigating. Yeah, I had a video in my YouTube feed today that was like literally private investigating. Oh, I have one more thing in the reading. I know what it is, but I kind of want to get a card because it's a lot easier for me sometimes to say the messages more clearly when there's an image. Do you know what this is reminding me of? So did you end up seeing Dune, the movie? Did you see it? I got a message last night. Sunday in September. You got a message last night that said Sunday in September. Okay. You saw it. You watched this, Godin, right? Yeah, you saw it, Dune. Yes. Godin saw it, and Zal, no? Yeah? Oh, I see. Okay. So you haven't seen it. Well, there's this, when you do, I'm sure you will at one point, Skern will recognize this. There's this, it's kind of famous part of the book, like where this, the main guy, he's got to put his hand in a box, and it causes him horrific pain, and he's got to use his ability to, to withstand the pain, that whole scene there. It's like kind of the way the book opens. It's the opening chapter of the book. And he's got to like basically prove his ability to value his own life above his own experiences. Something, yeah, prove himself, right? That that he's human, that he hasn't split off and valued his experiences more than he values his own life. So that's kind of like another one of those, there's one type of person and there's another type of person. Sometimes we can have these ways of splitting off. It's really interesting because it's counterintuitive, because when we say splitting, we think, oh, that's the terrible thing that made this so frustrating. So I definitely don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to split off from them, because then I'm just doing the same thing, and then I become the terrible thing that it's kind of it's a hole that we get into with this stuff. And we can step back and be a little bit more somewhat objective about things. Like, obviously everything's subjective, right? I understand that, but this is about, sometimes someone didn't get a metaphor. And there's a reason for that, because they're not in a mental space to process empathy. And sometimes that can get to a level where it's actually like observable on repeat. And when we observe something so many times on repeat, like sometimes you have to see something. And if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, obviously we have to question our bias and everything, and so it's not so simple as like of a process. But this thing I'm talking about in the movie, when you take everything literally, you lose the sense of humanity. This is interesting. Yes. Yes. Humans love symbolism. I heard something once, it was like, so we're on it, we're on the message. I heard something once, I think I just cut myself off in the middle of a sentence, but that's okay, we got the message. I heard this thing once, it's described as like a third thing, that our shadow, I don't like using the word shadow right now because, oh, there's so much. It's like the word vibration. It's like there's so much, like, I don't know, really weird stuff connected with it. People are saying it. I want to use a different word. It was talking more about our souls, our spiritual selves, the parts of us that are kind of like, we discover it as we age. It is part of ourselves. It doesn't like being spoken to directly. And so it speaks better through third things, such as art. And metaphor, really, like art, right? It's basically, that is art. Greens are the third. Green light, yeah. Colin and Dirk were playing Green Light earlier. They've got a game that they play, I've called it Green Light. It's just like, go! The third thing, what pulls the 2D into the 3D when talking about spectrums. So green light. Greens are the third. Yeah, the third thing. Oh, that's an interesting one. The third thing being, if we engage our consciousness with an image or a story, there's this part of us that's kind of in this eroded space. In this place where, it's the darkness. It's the things that we don't know tend to come out. The things we don't know about ourselves tend to come out and connect with that message as well. And we get this meeting place in the light, in art and metaphor. When somebody doesn't get a metaphor, the loss of opportunity is so huge. Like when somebody isn't in a place where they can connect with metaphors. 6 of discs, 10 of discs. I'm getting one more message for you, and this is basically it. It's one of them is to validate your experience of being around people who can't connect with metaphors, that it literally can be like a clinical thing, like RGB strip cannot go from blue to red smoothly. Bugs me about all the lights. Yeah. Oh, cool, we're talking about light. There's something about that I know about these types of things when people can't process metaphors, or they just don't. We're all a metaphor for each other. Like, for example, Zal, this story here, if I'm reading about your existence and we're connecting right now, Like I'm telling something, you're saying yes to this, and no, I don't know about that, or now you're talking about light, and we're just kind of shooting the shit, I guess is what it's called, right? I don't want to get all technical about it. And I'm here, basically I'm hearing your story, and this is storytelling. I'm hearing your story, and I'm connecting even my experiences with that in ways that sometimes I don't even know. And then there's parts of me that are coming out of myself. Like I'm learning about myself when I read about your story. And anybody else who's reading or hearing about your story right now is learning something about themselves. When we have art like this, there's so much that's gained from it. Like these are our opportunities. That's why people like to watch movies. People like to watch movies because it brings out parts of them. You can feel it. You can feel these parts of you that are understanding something on a level that you didn't even know you had, and we connect with ourselves. On the other hand, there's other people who watch movies and they just take it as an instruction manual because they don't know what else to do with it, because they don't have that connection with metaphors. And it's something that is built into something. It happens when you're a baby. It happens when you're way too young to even do anything about it. It's something that's really sad. Reversing it, or building that connection, it takes a lot of work if you didn't get it when you were little. You teach me tons of things, Sal. You're a great teacher. Your energy is inherently a good teacher. You don't even have to try. Just your existence is a wonderful teacher. That's what good friends are about. Part of what it's about. Most of it's just about shooting the shit. Okay, this is the last bit of the message, and I feel like it's going to be really hard. I almost don't want to say it, but it's like, well, it's right here. I keep seeing it, 6 of discs. This is the same as Skoden's reading, and I feel like this might be a little bit of what we were reading about in your reading, Skoden, too. We're just kind of getting like a different angle, like as I was saying, multifaceted. When we get this ability, metaphors is what we have when we're babies. We connect with little cute little animals and stuff, right? And some people didn't get that when they were growing up. Some people tried to raise their babies like they were adults, and they didn't give them any kind of little cutie little things. Or that's just a mild version of it, but their strong ones are like, when babies are like abandoned and stuff, and at crucial points in time when they are supposed to connect, with, it's got to do with metaphors. It's all in that time when we're starting to realize that things exist despite our existence, and that kind of stuff, like that understanding, or that kind of mentality that if I was to close my eyes and go to sleep, there would be a world around me that would continue to do things, and that would be, we learn that at a certain point, under a certain set of conditions. And most people learn it, most people get it, but not everybody. Some people don't end up going there. And this part of the reading is really hard. I'm just going to say it and then, take what you will of it. Disagree with me, by all means. We can be a bit grateful, I think, that we have this ability to connect with metaphors. It's almost like, could you imagine what it would be like to be this person? To not have that sense every time you see a movie or listen to a song, that it's pulling something out of you that you didn't know about yourself yet. To not have that. So if you run into someone, like I say it's rare, but we talk about it like those things. It's like there are certain things where it turns on and off. Like sometimes people can't. There's something blocks them from being able to connect with empathy, been having a hard time recently with thinking about past friendships I had. Yeah. There's something about, you know, it's almost like our empathy can go out to this energy still. As much as we want to like, but in order for our empathy to go out to this energy, we kind of have to accept that they might just be the type of person who can't understand a metaphor and who can't learn and grow, that they do something very different with art. They do something, they basically use it as a suit that they wear, and they take it very literally. And so movies like Pulp Fiction, like it's very rare, but it would encourage some people to be that way, you know? But I don't think so. That's a bad example. There's more examples of like, you know, heroes and things. They don't even take it as a hero, because that's an empathy type thing as well. It's not so much they want to be like that, it's that that's the best that they have to connect with the way the world is supposed to be. I think we can give a little bit, be generous with this energy, and understand that as much as like it kind of does this really terrible thing in relationships, it also, it's a really disadvantaged energy. Sucks that most heroes physically assault the bad guy instead of talking or something, right? Yeah. Really. It feeds into that, you know, good and bad. It's good for a story. Like, there's something about how a story captures our attention, and it wants to build us up to a certain emotional point. In order to do that, it kind of has to be willing to make a bunch of leaps, and once it makes all those leaps, then it can get us to this place, and then it needs to be able to let go of us very shortly after that. It needs to be an hour and a half or 2 hours long is basically it, and so it has to follow certain formulas. It has to do this good guy, bad guy thing, because otherwise, like, we need more time to buy into a metaphor. And if it's going to take us to that, you know, action movie height of stimulation, then it needs to have that. I'm sure there's other structures that do the same thing, but that's the action movie, you know, like it has a formula, and it works every time to the people who like that kind of thing. Basically, this reading at the end of it is just basically, if you're thinking about these types of people in your life who have kind of been pretty incapable of empathizing, and you feel that way with them, then you're right. You have empathy. We know that about you. And so if you feel like there's somebody who has had trouble, or you've been trying to explain something, and they just don't seem to get the message, and it's like they're missing something. If that's the case, then, you know, trust yourself on that one, and also be willing to go to the place to understand that if it is the case that somebody has one of those kind of splitting things that they do, where they just literally can't process metaphors, understand that is like, that's a very, very lonely way to live, and it's a very terrible way to live. It doesn't feel good. We can empathize with that, but in order to empathize with it, we have to be willing to kind of separate, differentiate. And in that moment, as much as we don't want to split people, or, you know, we don't want to do this splitting thing, we want to stay together, the togetherness with people. This is what the twos are about. In order to be together, sometimes we have to separate. And it's a really strange message to hear sometimes, that I would have to differentiate myself from someone in order to empathize with them. Oh, that's a cool one. There's just a gif-a-thon going on right now. I can see it. I'm going to end the reading there. I think that's basically, we just sitting in this energy, acknowledging the thoughts and feelings that go around this kind of stuff. Maybe you've drawn up a few memories. Dirk's around. He might come up for a visit, but it's going to be in a bit, I think. Oh, the memories. Okay, for anybody who's watching this after the fact on YouTube, thanks so much for watching, and thank you so much, Zal, for volunteering your energy for a collective reading. We're trying a new thing now, and your stories. If you like this video, check out the other ones, and also we stream on Twitch. And also, if you have any despair to toss into the hat and support the channel, there's a link there in the description, and there's also other ways to support. And there's Dirk's butt. Yeah, support the channel if you'd like, subscribe to the channel if you'd like, and come visit us on Twitch or if you'd like. Okay, thanks so much, bye.